My name is Kaitlyn Vaith. I work as a procurement lead at Velera, and Velera is actually a combination of what was previously Co-op Solutions and PSCU. Since we had gone through a merger in 2024, we needed one unified space for both of our legacy teams to work. We had been working out of two different systems, and we had a vendor management organization on one side, and then we had a procurement organization on the other. And we needed a unified solution for everybody to work in. In addition, we needed one unified space for all of our requesters throughout the business. We needed something agnostic of any other tool. It needed to sit independently, and that's where we got the advice to check out Levelpath. One of the most important factors for us when we were looking at a solution to have a procurement tool going forward for a unified team was we needed something that did not depend on any other service. We had a legacy tool that was dependent on a different tool that we did not want to have any sort of combined data, and we wanted this to be independent and self-administrative. Our prior tools, we had one that allowed for a lot of self-administration, and we had another tool that we basically had to talk to their support people for any little thing we wanted to do. So we needed something agnostic of any other baseline tool, and we needed something that we could self-administrate. At the beginning, when we first started talking to Levelpath, we jumped into a POC, a proof of concept, in order to be able to really get myself immersed in the tool, as I would be a hands-on user in setting up all of our workflows and working closely with the Levelpath team and getting that established. And during the proof of concept, I noticed how easy it was to self-administer this tool. And even though the customer service people are excellent and very responsive, if there was something small that I needed to change, I had the ability to easily do that. And it wasn't a long training process in order to pick any of that up. As far as business process, as I mentioned earlier, since we had gone through a merger, we needed one unified space for our entire company, regardless of if you were a legacy employee at one or the other. We needed one spot for everyone to be able to submit requests to procurement. And Levelpath allowed us to do that right away. So we went live with the intake portion immediately. Going live with intake created that ability right away, that people were able to make those requests, and we had one spot where we were managing requests that were coming in. The other part that has made this a lot more efficient is the workflows. They were able to be edited easily, but we were able to bring in a lot of different people, as we have a workflow that includes, as most procurement orgs do, lots of hands in the cookie jar. And right away, we were able to see results from our initial merger and having one place where everyone within the business, regardless of which legacy company they were employed with, they were able to submit requests in one place, and we could all see them as a unified team. The second ability that Levelpath has given us in order to make business processes more efficient were with these workflows. There's visibility for requesters right away of the entire workflow of what they have to get checked off before something goes to signature. And we're able to easily pull in both legal, our information security, regulatory and data compliance, and privacy. All those groups have a piece of the pie when you're looking at the full procurement workflow, and we're easily able to bring them in. We initially started working with Levelpath in August of 2024, where that was when we initiated our POC and then signed a contract at the beginning of November of that year. And so we've been working with the Levelpath team for a little over about a year and a half. And within that time, my role at the time of starting this POC was I was doing a lot more deals and vendor contract negotiations, and now I've gotten the unique opportunity to both still be doing that while also getting a front seat to all of the cool things that Levelpath is doing and how we can bring that into making our workflows more efficient. And so I get to do some of this implementation work with the team, and in addition, I'm able to see how, from a procurement operations standpoint, we can use new things that Levelpath is doing all the time to make our day-to-day that much easier. One of the main benefits that we have been able to see from when we initially went live with Levelpath to now is the visibility that requesters and different groups such as legal, InfoSec, regulatory compliance and privacy, these groups that are able to easily see what's going on from beginning to end with a project, with the contracts they own, suppliers that they own the relationship for. The visibility within Levelpath has made a huge difference. Levelpath supports Velera's future goals because of how we can easily go back and take everything we've learned about AI this week and implement this into our workflows. Such as, I think we'll have ones for how we're going to use better our negotiations. We're going to better how we're redlining and not trying to bother legal with so much of the small details when we can use an AI agent to figure some of that stuff out ahead of time. I just think there's so many new things that Levelpath is coming out with that will make our day-to-day much easier. One of the ways that Levelpath has helped efficiency within Velera's procurement workflow is being able to quickly engage different groups when needed and automatically. Prior to having this tool, we did not necessarily have any software that allowed us to show the full end-to-end workflow. And at this point, we don't have to have our procurement analysts, leads, managers remembering who they need to go engage for certain triggers within the workflow. It's just automated and set up, so there's no having to remember things specifically. It's just part of the workflow and it's built in. One of the best aha moments I've had while working with Levelpath was at the beginning of our relationship, where we were just initiating the POC and they'd done a demo for us of what Velera could accomplish while working with Levelpath. And then once I got my hands into the tool, I was like, this is something I could easily explain to my parents how to set up. And so very easy and very user-friendly, and that's been one of the best aha moments. I think some of the best advice that I could share as someone who is going to have a role like myself where you're in the weeds of doing the implementation is that don't be afraid to try new things. And maybe it might not be exactly how your team is doing things right now, but don't be afraid to try something new and explore a lot of the opportunities that they have, because really your mind is your cap. And so they have a lot of opportunity if you expand your limits. We're utilizing today's tools in order to maximize our potential with the deals we're working on day to day, whether it's from an operations standpoint, whether it's specific contract negotiations. If you are utilizing the tools to your best effort, you're gonna have success in whatever you're doing. If I could sum it up in one sentence, that Velera's procurement org is able to do now that we weren't able to do without Levelpath, is that we're not forgetting certain steps within the workflow. I would tell a CEO that's apprehensive about modernizing procurement that it's okay to jump on board and try something new. I think a lot of people that I've talked to, especially this week, have been doing something one way for a long time. And especially with these kind of tools, one like Levelpath that you can self-administer and work it to how you want to use it, it's okay to try something new, because if it fails, you just try something else. Levelpath has changed the way that the business has viewed procurement because of its visibility. That's been the biggest thing for Velera, is because we were previously using a tool that requesters would submit something, and unless they were hearing from us all the time, which as some deals take a long time, you don't necessarily hear from your business requester every day back and forth. But the visibility has been a big game changer for us, and so Levelpath has allowed for that. One of my favorite parts about working with Levelpath is, even though you guys have grown exponentially in personnel and employees in the last year and a half, I have never worked with someone that wasn't eager to help, intelligent, and ready to get to work.